Hudson County View live and uncut, and I'm your host, the reflection of perfection, and your number one selection, John R. Heinis. Hope everyone had a great summer. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we got some big elections in Jersey City and Hoboken this November 4th. So quite a few things happening on that end. But just on the day-to-day, you had this boil water advisory in Hoboken that just got lifted this morning, but then another water main break closed a bunch of streets downtown. So they haven't been having a very good stroke of luck over these days. That's the third one in 8 days. And it's something that has Mayor Ravi Bala saying that they're going to be halting any non-essential construction. So that's certainly something to keep an eye on. But back on the political end, if you will, you got this fair and welcoming city resolution. Of course, we've talked about the U.S. Department of Justice and the sanctuary city lawsuit against Hoboken, Jersey City, Newark, and Patterson. Well, there's a fair and welcoming city resolution that Mayor Ravi Bala, or executive order, I should say, Ravi Bala signed as his first act in office in 2018. And he's asking the council to codify it. So they're going to do that via the Hoboken Trust Act tonight. It's on first reading. So let's see what happens there. And then on a totally different note, in North Bergen, you have a police officer that spent 130 hours at home while he was being paid on duty. So obviously that's not something you see every day. So Rashid Sayyam, 27, is charged with theft by deception, false impression, a third-degree crime. That's according to the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. And in Jersey City, lots of endorsements coming down already this week. We saw 32BJ going with largely Ward E Councilman James Solomon's slate, and we're fortunate to be joined by him today. Of course, he's a candidate for mayor, but before that, we're going to sit down with someone who wants to be his successor. That's former Board of Education trustee Alexander Hamilton. So we're going to get to the interviews in just a moment. Just going to take a brief word from our sponsors.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live and uncut, John R. Heinis, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, my first guest for the new season is Jersey City Ward E Council candidate Alexander Hamilton. Alex, thanks for coming in.
Hey, John, thanks for having me.
So, obviously, this is an interesting election, right? You know, you have a 5-person field, everyone coming from a little bit of a different walk in life, at least.
A little bit.
And you served on the Board of Ed, you're on the rent leveling board.
Yeah.
And, you know, you lost that re-election campaign a couple years ago, very tight margin, but now you're trying to try something new. So how do we end up here from your point of view?
I think we end up here because I've always been a member of my community that's contributed. I've always looked for ways that I can do that. I think I also see problems that I want to, fix in the city when it comes to affordability, when it comes to quality of life, when it comes to services, when it comes to public safety. There are a lot of things like that that I see that I think I can help with my experience. As you mentioned, I did serve in the school board. I think that the school board and the administration need to work better with the city government. I think I'm someone that can help do that because I maintain my contacts, right? I have all the people that I speak to on that board, the administration. I think I can offer my expertise. The rent leveling board gives me a real bird's eye view into the affordability issues and some of the landlord-tenant relationships that are a problem in Jersey City. And I definitely want to, go forward and take my best shot at solving those problems in the city.
All right, so that's already a lot to unpack right there, but let's just start from the top. So you mentioned how there needs to be a better relationship between the school board and the city hall specifically, and we've heard this from so many candidates over so many years, as you well know. Now you do have that perspective from the Board of Ed, but what do you think needs to be done and what can be done to actually make this a reality instead of just a campaign soundbite for people.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with relationships. I don't think you get much done in Jersey City without relationships. That's one thing I'm very proud of. I maintain my relationships, even people that I ran against and that beat me in the previous election that you mentioned. So to me, it's really a matter of communicating with the right people, the right ideas, and making sure that the city understands what the schools need and that the schools make the city understand what the schools need. I don't think there was a lot of communication between the two branches of government before. I got to see that from the perspective of being on the school board. What I really want to do is enhance that relationship and make sure that it's concrete so that it's really hand in glove and there's no, we didn't know you were going to put a building here, could we build a school here? Things like that tend to happen a lot, and we want to make sure that those things are cohesive. I think I'm the candidate that can do that because I can bridge that gap.
And another point that you just made, you were talking about what you've seen with tenants and rent control. And I know I've watched some of your videos. I know you talked about affordability, and it seems like that's probably going to be one of the hallmarks of this campaign, regardless which seat you're running for, council at large, mayor. So when you're looking at affordability and how that comes together when people are looking for a place to live or a place to keep their business, what do you think is the right approach for downtown?
I think we have to look at this from a multi-pronged sort of approach, right? I think that when you look at what's going on with affordability with rents, there is a demand issue, right? When something's in demand, it's going to be higher. We don't have enough at the moment. And if you look at a study that the RPA, the Regional Planning Association, did, they came back with numbers that show that that's true. So from 2011 to 2022, Jersey City built about 26,000 units. Seems like a lot, and it is. It's actually threefold what New York did, right, in the same period of time. However, the same report shows that by 2032, we're going to be 36,000 units short of what we need in Jersey City, 77,000 short in New Jersey. So you can see Jersey City is going faster. So because there's this demand issue, prices will keep going up. Now, I don't believe in overdevelopment. I think we have to do it responsibly, right? I think we have to work with people to make sure that the city's getting what it needs. So that's one thing that we have. Then we also have, obviously, taxes are where they are, which are very, very high. So we understand that that's all factored in. We have to find ways to maybe bring them down, talk to the state about getting some money back for the schools, because that's another big problem. We all know what happened with the state budget, cutting what schools got by about $250 million. A lot of money was put on the backs of taxpayers.
Yeah.
So we have to get affordability under control in order to make sure that we can not just attract new residents to Jersey City, but we can retain the people who help build these communities.
Right. Now, with that said, there's been a lot of discussion about how the Newark Avenue pedestrian plaza and the surrounding areas should look. Like one of your opponents put out an editorial, and he wanted a stronger police presence and he wanted more city services allocated to that area, for example. I imagine you read it. And, there was also a proposal by this administration not long ago about having a playground on Borough Street. Obviously, it didn't end up going through. But we're on that topic. I mean, how do you envision it, and, how can we make it better?
Well, first of all, I think we do need more policing because we need people to feel safe at all times. Second of all, we do have a homeless problem there as well. That's another thing that makes the area unattractive for people to visit, sit outside and eat. So we have to help those individuals first and foremost. But I think the city did a poor job in planning the pedestrian plaza in the first place by putting so many benches out there. I understand what we want to do, but you got to realize what you're actually going to attract when you do that sort of thing. So there was really no provisional plan to make sure that that type of thing could be taken care of. Yes, we need to clean it up. We need more policing. We need a place where the Grubhub delivery people and Uber Eats people can park their bikes maybe away from the central plaza, because those are issues as well. We need to make sure we're enforcing that people aren't riding bikes up and down, because families and children need to feel like it's a safe place that they can walk and they won't get hit by something. These are all things that are important, and I agree with that, but we also have to find out the ways of getting people to get to that area safely. So we need to look into parking, alternate ways that we can get people to come there to visit and can stay there. We need to figure out what we're doing with Barrow Street, which sort of cuts in between. Right now it's closed, but that's like a temporary closure. What are we doing with that? There are options that we can actually enforce with that. Maybe we can put parking there, but we can do something. Maybe that street becomes through again. But there are options that we need to discuss. I just think that right now, Newark Ave is a nice project that we started. It wasn't fully fleshed out and thought out, and that's kind of where we are now.
All right. And how would you envision Borough Street if you had a seat at the table?
I think you could do a number of things with that. I would like to see it become more of a bike lockup area because I think it's sort of in the middle, so all the delivery people can then disperse from there and pick up what they need, because right now they're kind of hanging out in front of restaurants or in front of the entranceway and blocking people. I think that's primarily what I would like to see it used as. I think it could be, I don't know about a playground. I know that they're going to build another building there, so we sort of have to wait for that anyway. But I think it could be a good area where bikes, scooters, and things like that could reside for now.
Very good. Alex, don't go anywhere. Folks, don't go anywhere either. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panepintodevelopment.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Hudson County View live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and I'm still here with Jersey City Ward Council candidate Alexander Hamilton. So when we're talking about responsible development, and you talked about all those units that have come into the city in the past few years, what do you think responsible development looks like downtown?
I think the way to responsibly develop downtown is to make sure that you're including the community. That's the most important thing, going to the neighborhood associations and getting what do they need, what do they want to see, and not just getting stuff approved by planning boards, zoning boards, and city council. It's more going to the people. Hey, what does your neighborhood require? What do you need? I'll give you an example of that. There's a building on Christopher Columbus. I think it's called House. It's down by, right across from Whole Foods. One of the things we were able to get done while I was on the school board was there's a school annex there for PS16, which is a pre-K through, I think, second grade, right? Because there was a problem of overpopulation in PS16. We were busing kids to the Heights, we were busing kids to Greenville. So we had a developer actually build that annex, and that was part of a give back for the community because that's what the community needed. What we needed, we need more opportunities like that. What services can be added for the community? What services can be, valued by the community to make sure that they're getting what they need? We can't just keep throwing up buildings and saying, we're just throwing up this building and that's it. Because we see what happened in Journal Square. I'm not really a fan, but I think that, the developers probably should have maybe, I don't know, fix the bus station, fix the PATH train station, right? But instead now we have 6 70-story towers there, and they didn't really do much to increase the infrastructure that's there.
Point taken. I know plenty of residents who share what you're feeling on that one. But so look, obviously there's a lot of things going through planning, zoning, historic preservation, meaning there's already stuff in the pipeline. So whoever gets sworn in 2026 across the board, there's going to be a lot of things that are left over from the prior administration, like anywhere else.
Of course.
So with that, there is this hotel proposal downtown from the owners of the Liberty House, and that's now in litigation, and who knows how that's going to end. It's probably going to take 3 years. That's usually the magic number, roughly.
Yeah.
But what do you think of that proposal and where we should be on that?
Again, I think you need to look at that responsibly. I know a height variance was given for that. Now they are building on top of what we deem a historic building, so they're losing some with that as well. But the sentiment that I get from the community is they don't want it. And I think you really have to start there and find out, hey, well, what do you want? Was there a compromise on this? Was there a way to have a conversation about this? Was this forced on the community in a certain way? I'm not against a hotel coming in at all. I don't think that's a bad thing. But I think that if it's too much and it doesn't really go with the neighborhood, then you've got to make sure you include the neighborhood associations, the community, and make sure that that happens so that they feel like they're at least part of it. I think they felt like they were not included. They were just told this is what's happening. So you get a lot of outrage about that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
No doubt about that. Now, beyond development, obviously, as I mentioned at the top, and as you well know, it's a full field. possibly go to a December runoff. Well, who could say? But the point is, why do you think that, this is your race, and why do you think, you stand out from the field?
I think I stand up with the field, as I mentioned before, because of my experience, right? I've served as an elected official already on the school board. I understand the ins and outs of how the school board works and how the administration works, from how I can get that to work with the city. That's important. Being on the rent leveling board, like I said, gives me a bird's eye view into problems that come up, but also how to solve them. I'm also the president of my condo association. So I've been dealing with this sort of thing in a leadership position for quite some time. There's a lot of things people don't know about me. Like I had, as a CEO of my own tech company. I'm a patented inventor in the United States. I've gotten things done. I can get things done. I think I'm running with the right person because Joyce Waterman, I'm on her ticket. She's someone who gets things done. She understands the city. She's born and raised here. She's Jersey City personified. And I think that was what separates me from the other candidates that are running.
Okay, point taken. And just when you're looking at downtown now and what's happened in the past, 8 years, what do you think has gone really well, and what do you think didn't go so well, or maybe we need to curtail right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think when you look at certain city projects that should be completed properly, like you brought up the pedestrian plaza, good intentions, not well planned out, right? Because we're in this situation now. The Cole Street underpass, right, that connects to the other side of 14th Street down to 10th Street, which is right where I live. We still don't have lighting in there. That's an area that's very dark. It's pitch black in there at midday, at noon. Somebody could get mugged, something can happen to somebody under there. I don't understand why it's taken so long to get lights under there. I know there's a PSEG issue, blah, blah. Whatever it is, if you're gonna come out with a plan, make sure that you can fulfill that actual plan. That hasn't gone well. Some of the traffic regulation things have not really gone well. Like we have a new left turn you can't make from 9th Street onto Marin Boulevard, right? Great intentions. We put up all those, those plastic pylons that are there. If you go to that intersection right now with me, I'd love to take a trip over there with you. They're all knocked down. Why? Because everyone's still making that left turn. They don't care, right? So there's no enforcement, right? That's one of the big things that hasn't gone well over the last 8 years. There's no enforcement. So we talk about city projects, not very well done, no enforcement. So I'm going to go back to that intersection and just say, that's an idea, that's the worst case, because you did a study on it, you took the time to put the infrastructure in it, you didn't enforce it, and now guess what? That money's wasted because people are making left turns anyway. Those are the kinds of things you have to follow up on and make sure are not happening anymore. As far as what's gone well in Jersey City, I would say the feeling of community is there. It's alive and well. I think, we often talk about people are complaining, people are making noise. That's what community is though, right? That's the beauty of it, is if they don't feel like they're being heard, let's get heard. Let's make sure we understand what's going on. It's one of the reasons why I entrench myself in my community, so I hear them and I know what's going on, and I'll offer the same thing as a council person.
Alex, thank you very much.
Hey, John, thank you.
We'll certainly be talking. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be with Ward E Councilman James Solomon, who's running for mayor.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and I am now with Jersey City Warden Councilman James Solomon, who's running for mayor. James, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, John, for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. So obviously we're getting in prime time here, and you decided to be the first on TV. I saw you were in mailboxes this week.
Yep.
So, you know, turning it up a little bit. So how does the next, 7 weeks or so look in your eyes?
Yeah, no, we're now 47 days out, and we feel really confident about where we stand because fundamentally we think voters in Jersey City view my candidacy as the one that's going to deliver real change for an affordable Jersey City. So we have a real plan to get tough on developers, to make sure that they put at least 20% affordable homes in their new developments, and make sure they're genuinely affordable. Rents at $1,000 and under, rents at $1,500 and under, rents that working people can afford, because right now the city is becoming increasingly hard to live in, and ultimately more of the same. The status quo is not going to deliver change. It's not going to deliver affordable homes. So that's the message we have on TV. It's the message we have in your mailboxes, and ultimately we think it's the message that's going to win in Jersey City.
All right, point taken. Now, obviously, a lot of people believe that the runoff will be yourself and Jim McGreevey. Now, the case for Jim McGreevey that I've heard from folks is something to the lines of like, look, he just has too much money, just too many people know where he is, people don't pay attention. This is his race. Of course, I'm sure you don't see it that way, but what do you think of that mindset that some folks have?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they were saying about Cuomo in New York, right? I mean, the guy had tens of millions of dollars outspending his opponents, and the voters rejected the status quo. And we think that's what's going to happen in Jersey City, that ultimately, if you want an affordable Jersey City, you can't keep doing the same thing. And ultimately, the former governor offers more of the same developers funding his campaign, the same political bosses and elites funding his campaign. It's the same. And we think that voters are going to look for change, just as they have all across the country in the last couple of years, because the status quo is delivering higher property taxes, higher rent, and worse government services. And I think voters are going to look to my campaign and say that I have real ideas and real solutions to address those problems. And we're going to do it because we're not beholden to the developers, we don't take their money, and we're not beholden to the bosses. And that's going to be the difference in why I think I can deliver change, and ultimately why I'm going to win.
All right then. So, you've obviously spoken a lot throughout this campaign about, cutting waste, making the city more affordable, making this just a more livable place for Jersey City families.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned doing things like having a deputy mayor for education and a municipal inspector general, so how would you balance cutting the waste and adding new positions and make that equitable for, everyone?
Yeah. First and foremost, there is more that the developers and the corporations can pay. We've audited the payroll tax as a city office of 2 people. And with 2 people, we have found tens of millions of dollars that weren't being paid by some of the biggest corporations and some of the biggest contractors in Jersey City. If you didn't pay taxes on your house, or I didn't pay taxes on my house, they'd take it from us. But these guys think they can get away with it. So we think there is a lot of waste. There's a lot of revenue that can be found to help fund things. So the municipal inspector general, that position is going to pay for itself 10 times over by cutting out waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, we're going to be thoughtful about the different investments we have to make. We're not going to be able to do everything in year 1. And we have made a clear promise. We are going to stabilize property taxes. We cannot keep increasing property taxes the way we have over the last 5 years. We cannot have another credit downgrade. We've had 2 credit downgrades over the last 3 years. So we have a plan and a commitment to ensure that the budget remains, the property taxes remain stable, that the budget doesn't wildly increase. But I think we can do it by finding lots of waste and making sure developers and corporations pay their fair share.
Okay. Now, when we're talking about the budget at the last meeting, just last week, you put up a measure to put $1 million in the Department of Infrastructure. You obviously you've been talking a lot about street safety throughout this campaign as well. And, the votes weren't there. So at the end of the day, do you think you miscalculated, or what do you think went wrong there?
Well, for me, my fellow colleagues on the council have to explain their votes. From my perspective, I'm doing what I think is right, and I start with this. There are unsafe intersections in my district, right? Grand and Jersey, Marin and Columbus. For 2 years, I have asked our infrastructure department to come up with plans to ensure the safety of those intersections. And for 2 years, they have been unable to do it. And they have been unable to do it because they are understaffed and overworked. On Pacific Avenue in Ward A, a giant stretch of road that's deeply unsafe. No speed bumps, no stop signs, no red lights. Similar, 2 years of requests unfulfilled. So my thing was I could just complain to the administration, but for me it was like, no, let me try to solve the problem. And we could push $1 million of money that was sitting unused in the city council budget to our infrastructure department. And ultimately, my colleagues have to explain why they thought that wasn't a good idea. Some of the things they used were simply false. Some said, well, the positions wouldn't be funded next year. Well, that's not true. If we shift the funding would be in the budget at the start of the year. So, ultimately they have to explain their votes. From my perspective my commitment is as mayor, we will have a fully funded infrastructure department to ensure the safety of residents in Jersey City.
All right, very good. Councilman, don't go anywhere, folks. Sit tight. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panepintodevelopment.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Hudson County View live on Uncut. Chad Heinis, and I'm still here with Jersey City Ward E Councilman James Solomon, who's running for mayor. So we were just talking, of course, about pedestrian safety and infrastructure. And, it just came up for a moment and then it kind of just fell to the wayside. But there was a time when Jim McGreevy, Hudson County Executive Craig Guy, were talking about bus rapid transit and bringing this to John F. Kennedy Boulevard. That kind of goes with the theme of what we were just talking about. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, look, bike rapid transit is a phenomenal idea. It's worked in cities across both the country and the globe, and it can really help people move quickly. So I am open to ideas on bus rapid transit. I'm proud that I'm running with Elena Little in Ward E. Elena proposed bus rapid transit on the Boulevard when she ran against Craig in 2023. So I credit Elena with really interjecting this into the political conversation, and now it's being advanced. So very open to that idea and to bus rapid transit in general. The one thing I will say is when I ask people about better bus service, the thing that they always ask me about is, I need the buses to arrive on freaking time. I would curse, but I don't want to get you in trouble with the FEC. That is the number one thing I'm going to solve, right? The moment I get into office, the moment we push NJ trainers is you need the buses, whether it's the 80, the 87, the 10, or the 119, or the 126, they have to show up on time reliably. That is issue number one to solve, and that's what I will do in my first year in office. And then I'm happy to explore these additional ideas on BRT and other forms of bus service. And I should just say, because I think it gets into this, I am not in support of the way that the one-way proposal has been rolled out. This is over at MLK and Ocean, and then over also on Bergen Avenue as well. For me, it's an example of the leadership we need to change. A leadership that says, I know better than you, I'm going to put an idea out on social media and then kind of try to ram it down a community's throat. To me, if you have a good idea, you shouldn't be afraid of that community. You sit with the community, you work through the idea, you take their knowledge, because they're going to have knowledge about the idea and proposal that can help you make it better, and you work with them to advance it forward, building trust. And so that's what I'm going to do, and that didn't happen with this one-way proposal.
All right, so on that, you and Mayor Fulop, I mean, it hasn't been all that public. For those of us watching closely, you guys haven't been getting along so great the past few weeks, as I don't have to tell you. But what do you think happened there? And also, do you have any concerns about who we may endorse or not endorse going forward?
Yeah, I'm just focused on my race, right? Since the day I was elected, I've always had the same approach with the mayor, which is to be supportive of him when he's doing the right thing and to be willing to stand up when I think he's doing the wrong thing. Bayfront is a wonderful project that the mayor has used real leadership to advance and to move forward in Jersey City. It's going to be a transformational project. But the Pompidou tax abatement was a mistake. It was $150 million for a major developer for a project we can't finance even with the abatement. So I'm just going to keep saying the same thing. Beyond that, my only focus is delivering a real agenda to improve people's lives in Jersey Cities. Make the city affordable, ensure the city is well run, deliver better transit, create 1,000 new summer youth jobs. That's what I'm talking about. And for me, it's, we welcome support, but we're not going to get kind of distracted by anything that isn't that focus.
All right. Now, of course, we're hyper-local, and, that's what matters in a municipal. But,
Yeah.
there have been council candidates, and at least one of your opponents, too, for mayor. They're talking a lot about what's going on in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's still going on. So, a couple years ago, the council, there was a resolution to vote on. You were one of, I believe it was 6 abstentions. So it didn't go anywhere, and that was kind of the end of it. So I'm just wondering what your feelings are on that today.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think for me, watching kind of the horror that has unfolded in Gaza over the last 2 years, at this point, it's hard not to call it a genocide. That you've seen, starvation used as a weapon of war. You've seen, just mass civilian casualties over and over again, and it needs to end. The fundamental reality still remains the same for me, which is that Hamas is a terrorist organization that could end the war tomorrow if they chose, that Netanyahu and his people have committed incredible war crimes at this point, and we in Jersey City, our focus has to be on ensuring that we are fighting against anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, things that have risen since the start of the conflict. We had anti-Semitic graffiti put on a park in Jersey City just on Saturday, and that rise is always going to be my focus. Is how do you stop anti-Semitism? How do you stop Islamophobia? How do you ensure that that is our focus here? Because sadly, we're unable to, fundamentally change the course of what's happening across the world. But it is just, it is an unfolding tragedy that just continues.
Okay, and just finally, Councilman, more or less any just closing thoughts, any maybe feelings on the council race, any feelings on the upcoming weeks, or anything else? Sure,
no, it's a great question. I think for me, one of the things we are most proud of is at this point fighting to ensure that we have real opportunities for our young people in Jersey City. 30 years ago, there were more opportunities for young people than there are today, right? The CETA program existed, the Armory was open, and now there's less. And to me, that is unacceptable given the amount of money that's moved into Jersey City. So we have a real plan, open the first free municipal rec center in Jersey City, working with Councilman Ridley at Bayfront Park, create 1,000 summer jobs for teens, working with Councilman Gilmore. And I think we have a real plan to ensure that youth have real opportunity in Jersey City, something that my Deputy Mayor for Education will lead, and something that I'm really excited to both share with voters now and then implement as mayor.
All right, Councilman, thank you very
Beautiful.
much.
Thanks, John. I
Best of
appreciate the
luck.
time.
You're very welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're already done this week. We'll be back next week at the same time, same place. We'll see you then.
Awesome.